Welcome to The Explainer. So, there is just a massive amount of speculation swirling around the highly anticipated Spider-Man Brand New Day. But hey, instead of just wildly guessing, we're going to look at the actual trailer clues together. We'll cross-reference them with some of the most fascinating comic book lore out there to see exactly who might be hunting Peter Parker next. Let's dive right in. 50 plus. Yeah, you heard that right. That is the sheer scale of what we're dealing with here. Spidey has one of the most extensive rogues galleries in all of Marvel Comics, and we are talking about over 50 supervillains who don't just want to rough him up or, slap him around a bit. These are lethal adversaries who genuinely want to end his life. While we've seen cinematic heavy hitters like Doc Ock, Vulture, and Mysterio in live action, the source material tells us there are even deadlier threats lurking in the shadows. And get this, some of them have actually succeeded in killing Spider-Man in the comics.
So, here is how we'll break it down today by escalating the threat level. First, a brand new danger. Then, street and tactical threats. After that, we'll look at the rising MCU heavyweights. And finally, the ultimate predators.
Section 1. A brand new danger, looking at the rumors and the clues. Moving right into Section 2. Street and tactical threats. Now, these three grounded threats couldn't be more different from one another. First up, we've got Tombstone, also known as Lonnie Thompson Lincoln. He's a street-level crime lord who is virtually indestructible, packing immense superhuman strength. Then the Punisher. Normally, sure, he's an anti-hero, but the trailer gives us some crucial evidence, showing him actually firing gunshots directly at Spidey. This definitely hints they might start off as enemies before an inevitable team-up. And finally, Boomerang. Once a pro-level baseball player who took bribes, got banned, completely lost his mind, and joined a criminal gang. Happens to the best of us.
But hey, the threats aren't just individuals. Enter The Hand. This isn't a single villain, it's an entire clan of highly trained, dark magic-wielding ninjas. They worship and draw power from a demonic entity known as the Beast. They've got a long, bloody history with both Daredevil and Spider-Man in the comics, and if you paid really close attention to the trailer, there is a blink-and-you-miss-it glimpse of a full-fledged ninja fight, practically confirming that this lethal group is officially making their arrival.
All right, on to Section 3. Rising MCU heavyweights. So, we're all incredibly familiar with the Green Goblin's original brand of MCU chaos, right? Just an utterly insane and evil force that fans absolutely love. But with him out of the picture, the source material points directly to Hobgoblin stepping up to the plate. Hobgoblin is slated to bring that exact same unhinged energy and terrifying insanity to this new movie, effectively replacing the massive void left by his predecessor. Past threats are mutating, and entirely hidden ones are surfacing. Take Mac Gargan, the Scorpion, for example. We haven't actually seen him since Homecoming, but the trailer teases a massive proper showdown with him. And then there's the Chameleon. Fun fact, this is actually Spidey's very first comic book villain, debuting all the way back in issue number 1. He is a Russian mastermind, Kraven the Hunter's brother, and a master shape-shifting manipulator. Rumors suggest he's been hiding in the MCU this entire time, making him a severe invisible threat. We also have to mention a much newer, heavily anticipated addition to the roster, a villain known as Tournament, or Tonnerme in some translations. This guy is a very fancy, highly methodical serial killer who operates with a deadly pattern, having recently debuted in the Spider-Man and Venom comic series. Because he's so new, and his visual design is honestly just so striking, he's the absolute perfect candidate to either appear in the main plot or serve as a chilling post-credits tease for the future.
Which brings us to Section 4, the ultimate predators.
This leaves us with one massive, lingering question. Seriously, what happened to that tiny piece of the symbiote left behind at the very end of No Way Home?
Well, the comic lore tells us exactly what happens. That leftover fragment from Eddie Brock literally needs to bond with a host just to survive. When it finds Peter, it grants him the iconic black suit and immense new powers, but it comes at a terrible cost. It slowly and systematically corrupts the host's nature, turning them pure evil. And this ties directly into a massive trailer clue. We see a shot of Spider-Man looking incredibly angry, and his eyes are pitch black. That is the universal visual signal for symbiote corruption.
But believe it or not, there is a threat even greater than Venom. To understand it, we really need to talk about spider totems. In the comics, this is a multiversal term for spider characters who possess a very specific mystical life force. And the terrifying reality here is that this life force attracts cosmic predators. The most lethal of these predators is a villain named Morlun. He is an incredibly powerful, vampire-like entity who is physically stronger than the Hulk and has successfully hunted and killed some of the most powerful Spider-Man variants across the entire multiverse. Morlun's methodology is chillingly simple. Step 1, he hunts spider totems across the multiverse. Step 2, he violently feeds on their life force. And Step 3, he uses that energy to evolve and increase his own power. It basically turns a super complex cosmic comic mechanic into something that is easily understandable and genuinely scary for Peter Parker.
And this brings us to another massive trailer clue, Peter shifting from traditional mechanical web shooters to biological webs. The trailer explicitly mentions that Spider-Man is going through 3 steps of evolution, and we see clues that his body is naturally developing webs internally, rather than relying on his tech. So why does this matter? Well, because in the comic lore, Peter's body going through this exact type of biological evolution is exactly what triggers Morlun's arrival. The movie seems to be perfectly adapting this terrifying storyline.
We've covered assassins, ninjas, symbiotes, and multiversal vampires. The threat level has quite literally never been higher for Peter Parker. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Looking at this massive, deadly roster, which villain's arrival are you most excited or, perhaps most terrified to see fully realized? Keep exploring the lore, keep analyzing those clues, and hey, thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.